Hey, what's good? It's the Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth, man. Episode 24. Okay. About to go into a couple of things. Talk about Kendrick Lamar, talk about missing children, some crazy stories that I came across that we're going to talk about that I think people need to hear. It's not put on the mass media. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, man. I got a lot of stuff. And I got a Black Authentic Truth story. Now, I'm starting a little later than I usually start, but like always, it's always something that comes up. But the good thing is that I'm doing it, right? Like when you have things you want to do, things that you know you need to do. When it comes to stuff like that, it's like sometimes a lot of things get in the way, and you might decide that maybe you can do it at another time. Maybe you could just put it off to another time, and then it's something in the back of your head to say, well, we're going to get it done. I got to get it done. And yeah, so I'm here. It must get done. Black Authentic Truth must go forward. I got to push it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, going to get into a few stories. Now, I recently just seen where there was a rapper named Fulio. I've seen him before. He got killed last night on his birthday. He got ambushed, right? Um, and I went and looked at his music. I listened to a lot of his songs, and I'm like, you know, it's almost like you don't want to sound insensitive, but it's almost like, what do we expect when we hear the lyrics of brothers going in on deceased brothers? You know, that's that whole drill scene, even from Chirac, where they have a thing where they rap about deceased ops or deceased enemies. For people don't know who the ops are, but deceased enemies, you know, and I guess he's done a lot of that. And a lot of people are saying, you know, karma done caught up with him and blah, blah, blah. And I just look at it like we reap what we sow in this world, in this life. Things do come back to haunt you, right? But in the bigger picture, it's like a lot of our people are just victims to the environment that they grew up in, and they never came across nobody that could take that negative energy that they got, that anger that they got, and turn it into something positive. And then you throw in the rap game throws hundreds of thousands of dollars to these brothers that's coming out the hood. And there is no behavior modification in the rap game. You know what I mean? It's just like you get this money and you still who you are. And social media amplifies that and makes you a target. And if you're going to be somebody that is reckless and, you know, still continue to be that same person you were where you got millions of dollars, you no longer have to live in the same area. You hear that a lot about what happens to people that stay in the same area. Like you could change. You don't have to rap about this anymore. You done made it. You made it. Like you actually made it. You're one of the few people that are blessed to have a, you know, to get a contract. And so basically you made it. You got what everybody dreams of and what everybody wants. But our people are so destroyed that even when you get those type of blessings and you get that type of money and you got that opportunity, you're still locked in into that programming. And so you can't escape. Even though many people are trying to speak and say, hey, you need to leave, you need to get away from this area, go start anew somewhere else, move here, move there. Many brothers cannot pull themselves out of that matrix. And it's just a sad thing. So I heard about that. And I don't wish any bad thing on any of my people, any brothers, any sisters. I don't wish bad things on them. You know what I mean? Even if they're reckless, even if I can see like Like this nigga is reckless. He's off. She's off. I still don't wish for something to happen to him, something bad to happen to him, because that's somebody's son, that's somebody's sibling, father, mother, what have you. But yeah, so I want to talk about that. Brings me to Kendrick Lamar, right? Let me see real quick. Brings me to Kendrick Lamar. Now, Kendrick Lamar. Wait, hold up. Let me hold up, y'all. Let me do this real quick. Let me play that my music again. This is funny. I was doing this before I went live. They not like us. They not like us. They not like us. Uh. They not like us. I was doing that, and I'm just joking around and everything. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar, he had the pop out thing. Then yesterday, everybody in the city came out for his video shoot, and everybody is talking about Kendrick Lamar. He unifying the city. He unifying the West Coast brothers coming together. This is not nothing new. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my 40s. So I done seen truces. I done seen brothers and sisters being unified behind, rap music. For that's basically what it is. This is about music. This is the sound, but it also shows you that when it comes to music, music is very influential. Music could really spark a revolution. Music. People don't, that's why when people critique our music, or when black people, when we critique our music and the type of music that is coming out and being played, it's because music can give you a certain type of energy. It can give you a certain type of outlook. And so when you talk about Sexy Reds and you talk about Megan Thee Stallions and that type of music, or you talk about the drill scene music that just pushes about, getting your ops, getting money, but mainly death. When you talk about that type of music, it does affect people. They did scientific studies on how music affects people, how it can affect a person's mood. And so music is very powerful if it was to be used in the right way. So if it was to be used in the black community in a more conscious form, in a way of revolution, it could change the minds of our people easily. But this is not so much about music. It's more about how this movement right now with Kendrick Lamar, how you see Crips and Bloods from the city, from LA coming together. You see everybody under one banner coming together and unified in the name of the West Coast. But just imagine if it was bigger, though. Imagine if it was for something more important. Bulls fan 25, Brick City, Renee Gaines, Laugh Out Loud. Yeah. Imagine if it was for something that could actually fix our people. Now, I imagined that when I seen all those brothers and sisters, and when it comes to gang banging or just brothers in the streets, because I'm not just going to use LA or West Coast gang banging as an example. I'll just say every urban city where brothers are in the streets, brothers are doing their things in the street, right? Many people look down on that culture, and I understand why, because of what comes with it. But when you really look at brothers, these brothers in the streets that live that life, that then signed up for that life, these brothers are warriors. And let me just explain what I'm saying. We as black people, we're a tribal people, okay? We're a people who are a warlike tribal people. Now, when you look at the gang element, the street element, it's the same thing. It just doesn't have any structure. It doesn't have a platform. It doesn't have any rules or no organization. And so, because of that, What we get with our people is chaos. It's chaos because it doesn't have any structure. It doesn't have a a direction that it's actually going. Okay, but these brothers are warriors, no more, no different than brothers on the football field or brothers, in sports. Our people are warlike, are tribal warlike people without any real structure. We're following the structure of America, basically. But it ain't, as you can see, it ain't working for us. It has never worked for us. There were times when we tried to make it work. You can go back to the times of the of revolutionaries and pioneers, and you know, uh, Black Panthers. That jogged my memory for a minute. But the point is that Bulls fan 25, the government removed all structure in the 80s. You're right. You damn right with that. The point is, though, is that, like, imagine if we could have all of this unity behind something that we believe in. The most important thing is, what do you believe in? What does your God look like? Many of our people have a God that looks like the people that had enslaved them. Even today, as me being an Israelite, if I tell a brother in the streets that's a hardcore rough brother that God, the God of the Bible, he don't love everyone, he gonna say, nah, now this is a killer. He known in his neighborhood and everything. He'll look at me like, man, you racist. You're not including everybody in that thing. You're not going to include white people. So you get what I'm saying. Like, we grew up in a system where we came through Christianity. Many of us grew up in Christianity, and this is supposed to be the platform for who your people are, the leadership for who your people are, everything about your people, the guidance level, all of that, even the punishments of what's supposed to happen to your people, right? Within your group. Because if you look at every other people, you look at Asians, you look at East Indians, you look at Arabs, you look at these certain groups of people, they have a type of way that they move and it works for them. Well, we've been doing this thing under United States government and Christianity, and it hasn't worked for us. But I just thought about this thing with Kendrick Lamar and said, imagine if all of us, and these are supposed to be the worst of the worst, these people that then came together behind Kendrick Lamar from every hood, from every major hood in LA. Imagine, well, you mean to tell me that we can't get along and we can't change? Even if it's just for a little bit, that's a glimpse into heaven. That's a glimpse into an existence where all our people can be on code. But it has to start with what we believe in. Because you can't be believing in one thing and I'm believing in another, and we move totally different, and we're supposed to be one, but now I'm suffering the consequences from coming together with you because you're doing some off stuff. You're doing some stuff that's getting us all messed up. It has to be a single cohesive plan, and we can shake up the world. We could change the trajectory of our community overnight. So that's what I wanted to tap into with Kendrick Lamar. Like, it's cool. It is unity in a sense. But real unity would be us all believing in one thing. Not us being Democrat or Republican, not us being, Crip or Blood, not none of that. It would have to be unified under one way of thinking. And then we'll be more powerful. We'll be more powerful than anybody could have ever imagined. Okay. So let me get to the next one. Now, this story is crazy. This story right here is I didn't even know about this story. They're not putting it on mainstream media. Of course they not. These type of stories, they hide from mainstream media, but they'll put that a few people were shot over the weekend in Chicago. They'll put that all over the media. But a story like this story I'm about to go over, you'll never hear about a story like this unless you're like really searching for it. Okay. Let me get this for you. Well, actually, I was going to go over something else, but I'm gonna do that first. I'm gonna talk about the missing children. And then I'll get to the story. So this is the thing. In the last 2 weeks on social media, I've seen so many missing children, black women posts that it was troubling. And it's different areas all over the United States. And so I was asking it, I was like, dang. So I like basically got a lot of them, put them together and started researching the names. So what I found was a lot of the people missing were either they were found or they were found deceased. Okay. But there's still some children missing. There's many more that I didn't, even save. I was just on my phone and I'm like, every time I see a missing flyer online, I screenshot it and I just try to save them because there'd be so many and I won't remember them. But I looked up the ones that I did screenshot, which was about 10. And out of the 10, many of them they were found or deceased, unfortunately. And these are three here, right? Aiden Dozier, I hope I'm saying his name right. Latoria Finner, and this young man, his name is Isaiah. It didn't say his full name, but it's the Cobb County Police Department. Okay. And it's just crazy, y'all, because I've been talking about this. I've been speaking on this for a minute, and nobody seems to even give a damn. No one really even. I'll say this: eh, when I say no one seems to give a damn. I'm not just talking about the other people. I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about black people. No one really gives a damn. And I said this. I don't know when I said it, but it was recent. A lot of our people don't give a damn until it's them. Like you don't care until it's your loved ones. You'll scroll past a missing child post because it doesn't affect you. But it actually does affect you because that black child is your child. And I was like, damn, no, like we can't expect for the other people to put resources and all of the energy behind looking for our kids. That's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. You want to see the article again? I'll pull it back up. Let me see. That's never going to happen. Aiden Dozier, Latoria Finner, age 16. Aiden is, I believe he's 13 years old. That's Las Vegas. Latoria Latoria Finner is I don't want to butcher the name of the city, but it's uh Illinois, I believe, Indiana. And then Isaiah, if somebody could, it's the DeKalb County Police Department. They put it up. It's actually a post on Facebook. They have a page. But I was troubled by how so many black people is missing. It's troubling to me. It's always been troubling to me. Ever since I seen an article. One time I seen an article, and y'all probably seen the same article where it said 76 70,000 black women are missing. And this was years ago. This was like, I'm thinking like 2010, 2000 and maybe 2010 I seen that. It said 70,000 were missing without a trace. And I was like, without a trace, where are these people going? What's happening? But there's been many instances where young people have gotten away from random men just rolling up in vans trying to trying to grab them, trying to kidnap them. There's y'all remember there was a video some years back where it was like maybe in like Minnesota or somewhere where it was two Africans that was trying to pick up young black girls, young black kids, and the community basically caught them and was beating them up on camera and had them detained. I don't know if anybody remembers that. I don't have the video, but it's proof that there is like some underground ring of men being paid to just grab women and grab children off the streets. So my message is to always pay attention to your surroundings and always keep an eye on your children. Always keep a tab on your children. Know where they're going, know what their whereabouts are. Because even though we live in a time where it's a lot of technology and everybody has a phone and all that, this stuff is even happening at a higher rate. You would think that it wouldn't be happening at a higher rate because we have cameras on every corner and all of that, but that's not the case. So you have to care more about where your children are going, what they're involved in, especially your young daughters, because I don't know if there's a statistic, but the majority of the missing posts that I see are young girls that are like from age 12 to like 16, 17. You always see that. And so they are definitely a target. Right. Right, Alawab. He said to take a picture of your kids every day before they go out. Because that's the first question that they would ask is, what was they wearing? The law enforcement would investigating would say, what was the last thing they had on? What did they look like? A lot of times it'd be children. A lot of these missing things I found out by researching, it'd be children that then went somewhere with their friends and they've been gone for a day or two. They're at their friend's house and they ain't even called their mom or something like that. But the sheer number are a lot of children and adults that are missing without a trace. And so this post right here was supposed to be funny, whoever posted it. It was supposed to be funny, right? Which if it wasn't this, I mean it would be funny, right? But he says y'all need to binge watch your kids. Y'all be binge watching these episodes of all these different shows, but the point is you need to be up on your kids, knowing their every move instead of knowing the 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 every move of the next show or the next season or how many episodes it has. We need to really take that seriously, like really, like pay attention to your children, because you don't want to be that parent on Facebook, on Instagram, you know, asking, have y'all, I need y'all help. Have you seen my child? I don't want to be that parent. And I don't wish that on no other black parent, for you to be in that situation and you don't know where your child is. Right. So yeah, that's what I want to bring out, because it just doesn't make any sense. Don't make any sense with these children, all of these children that are missing. It's sad. Now to this next story, and let me pull. I'm gonna read an article. Excuse me. Read an article. So this is Sissonville, Kanawha County, West Virginia. A Sissonville couple, let me pull it up. A Sissonville couple accused of child trafficking plead not guilty. This is Eyewitness Fox News. And I'm going to read some excerpts from this article, and it's going to blow your mind what they were doing. Okay. A Sissonville couple accused of human trafficking after children were found allegedly locked in a barn appeared in court Tuesday. Donald Ray Lance, 63, and Jeanne K. Whitefeather, 62. Whitefeather. That sounds like, they're one of them $5 Indians. Pleaded not guilty to charges of human trafficking of a minor child, use of a minor child in forced labor, child neglect, creating substantial risk of serious bodily injury or death, and false swearing. Okay, and let me just show you, not show you, but I'm going to give you what exactly the charges are. It says that Whitefeather and Lance were arrested after a child welfare call by a neighbor claimed two teenagers were being locked in a shed at a couple's Sissonville home. Now, this is a case where a Karen is being a Karen is good. I'm gonna just say that this is a case where being a nosy Karen, that is a good thing. Let me keep reading. All right. It says neighbors also reported that the children were forced to perform farm labor and were not permitted inside the residence. Deputies said they found a 14 and 16-year-old locked in an outbuilding equipped with only a small RV porta potty, but no running water. The 16-year-old girl told law enforcement that they were last given food around 6 a.m. that day and had been confined in the locked outbuilding for 12 hours. The deputies also noted, the children told deputies that Whitefeather and Lance forced the two teens to sleep in the locked outbuilding on the concrete floor without any mattress or padding. Deputies also noted the two teens wore dirty clothes and smelled of body odor. The 16-year-old girl had shoes while the 14-year-old boy had open sores on his bare feet. Deputies said they found a 9-year-old girl. They had 5 children, but these 2 children were in the outhouse. Deputies said they found a 9-year-old girl inside the main home 3 hours after law enforcement first arrived at the home. Lance arrived with an 11-year-old boy. Let me get some more. Now, these were 2 black children. I'm sure you can see from the title, they were 2 black children, and they were sleeping in the outhouse on the concrete floor. Now, there is a little more to this, which is crazy. Let me get it. I want to get what the judge says. So this is what the judge says. The judge said, I don't think I've ever seen an indictment like this in all of my time. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, and the use of forced labor. Human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race and their use as basically slaves, from what the indictment alleges, along with human trafficking, neglect, and seriously bodily injury or death. So it was saying that these children, basically, the neighbor seen them, they basically was out in the field working like slaves. These foster parents who got these black foster children were treating them like slaves, working them, having them work the land, till the land, and be confined to the barn where they slept on a concrete floor. It don't get no more wicked than this. Yes, let me pull the article up. It don't get no more wickeder than this, right? Let me pull this article up for y'all. Share the screen. It's the article right here. They were basically using children as black children as slaves. And now this story did not hit the news waves. Like all of these things happen, but they happen locally. Like they're reported locally, but they don't hit like mainstream national news. But if we are doing something to one another, you'll hear about that. You will hear about the violence in Detroit. You'll hear about the violence in Chirac, right? You'll hear about the violence in LA. You'll hear about the violence in Florida, but you won't hear stories like this. And it also shows that what people don't know is that a lot of black children are at the mercy of the foster care system, at the mercy of officials, administrators in CPS that put them in these situations. And nobody talks about all of the bad things happening to black children behind closed doors in the system, in the foster care system. I remember being locked up with a brother that told me that he used to get abused. He was a foster kid and he was abused. And they used to do horrible things to him, you know? And you would never think that that is happening, that there's somewhere where some children are some black children are literally being treated and used as slaves, just like our ancestors. You'll never think that was happening. Bulls fan, you said the body language says that she's the mastermind and he went along with it. Probably. I wouldn't put it past her. I wouldn't. You know why? Because we have a tendency to look at the man as being, because he is the man, we look at him as more being more capable of being more cruel. But there's a book called They Were Her Property that's written by a sister. They Were Her Property, where it talks about white women being slave owners and exacting cruel punishment on the children and doing, like really mean, evil things and owning slaves just like the men did. So I would not put it past her. I wouldn't put it past. I agree with you. I believe she probably was the mastermind. You know, she probably was the mastermind, most likely. But I just felt like I needed to bring that out so you could see that when they say that we live in a post-racial society and racism is all in your head and you're race bait, and these things happen every day. They just don't put them on television. They just don't put them on mainstream news for you to know that these things are happening. It'll be just like on a whim that you hear about something so weird and so cruel that you'll be like, damn, I didn't even know they're still doing that. And we're talking about West Virginia. We're talking about a major slave state. So that is ingrained in them, right? That is, of course, they probably grew up very remote I mean, she had the kids work. They had the kids working the field. There's some more. Let me pull a little bit more where I think it actually tells you exactly. But see, you can see even in the way the article is pushed, it's not really telling you, it don't just straight out tell you that these were black children. You have to surmise that on your own or do a little more research. So when they were basically when they were confronted, White Feather, she basically said she claimed when the neighbor said she seen these teenagers locked, she basically said that they weren't locked in a barn, they were in a teenage clubhouse. I mean, it's just a hangout. It's just like Nickelodeon in there. It ain't, oh, they're just kids being kids, they're just teenagers being teenagers. But that Karen was nosy. She was like, it's some foul, it's something bad going on. So the neighbor also reported that the children were forced to perform farm labor and they were not permitted inside the house. The house, the farm labor being it, you understand the dynamic. The house being the big house, the farm labor being the plantation, and the shed being the slave quarters where they lay on the concrete. That's crazy. You can't tell me that we live in a society where these things are not happening and people are still, feeling that way towards black people and treating black people like that. You can't tell me nothing different. The proof is right here in this story. This is a type of story like reverse it, like reverse the races. If it was black people doing black foster parents doing white children like this, it would be like primetime news. But you would never hear about it on a prime time on the mainstream. Anyway, I'm gonna drop that and we'll get to some more. Get to the next story, right? Next story. I'm sure y'all know about this one. The bling pastor, Lamar Whitehead. He got 9 years for stealing money for parishioners and lying to investigators. This brother was a pastor in New York. What is the name of his church? He's got one of them long names too. These churches be having them long names. You know, Episcopal on the Rock Baptist Missionary Church of God in Christ. Hold on, let me get the name of the church. It's a long name. What's the name of his church? Let me see. 1 minute. Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries Church in Canarsie, Brooklyn. Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries Church. See, just like I said, these brothers, nowadays these churches be having a full-on paragraph for a name. Now, this is Lamar Whitehead. This is he's called the Bling Pastor. Bling Pastor. Look, what's that? A Bentley coupe? Bentley coupe. He got Fendi, he got Gucci, Louis Vuitton, whatever is the name brand or the top designer clothes, he was wearing it. Shades. Now he was accused of, it was a sister in his church, right? And this sister in his church, he convinced this sister to give him $90,000. This money came from her retirement fund. So she gave him the $90,000. And what he did was he spent that whole 90. He spent it on luxurious clothes, designer clothes, and jewelry. And so he totally was a menace to society in the name of Jesus. He totally was about the bag, but not in the way you think. But it's a bigger thing at play right here, because he has parishioners. He has people that go to his church and love him and adore him and look at him as a man of God that wouldn't covet, that wouldn't steal, that wouldn't lie. Whereas the investigators, they said he lied to them while being questioned. And you have a lot of Black people that follow these type of men. Now, he's not the only type. There's other pastors do this thing. He was just flashy and thirsty for the designer stuff. But your TDJ, your Creflo Dollars, all of your pastors, they get this type of money. Now, they don't get it like how he got it, but their whole get down is about prosperity gospel. Their whole get down is about being blessed. That's their whole get down. Y'all, do y'all feel what I'm saying? Like their whole get down is about being blessed and having, and the blessing is prosperity. Blessing is being blessed is having money. Being broke is being you cursed or the devil is attacking you or whatever the case may be. But the prosperity gospel is about that. These brothers don't really have the answer anyway. They've never had the answer. He's a residue of the pastors that was set up on the plantation. Pastors was set up on the plantation to teach the slaves, but while they was teaching the slaves, they also had to have white people there too, making sure they teach a certain type of way. Not in a revolutionary way, not in a way where you should not be treated like this. You should be fighting back. You should separate. No, they taught in a certain kind of way. And that way has transformed in the Black community because of poverty. It has transformed into prosperity gospel, having the finer things in life, looking like a rap star. That's basically what he looked like. He looked like your average rapper, not in a suit, but you see that middle picture with the Gucci puff jacket on, with the Bentley behind him. I don't know if that's a Bentley, could be a Rolls Royce. But my point is that our people are so gullible that all you have to be is somebody with money for them to follow you. That's how gullible, and that's how what we come from. The hood and the poverty we come from, we're gravitated and captivated by somebody with affluence and money, and they wearing designer fabric, and they driving a very expensive foreign car, and they're saying that they're a man of God. And it goes back to that thing I was talking about with Puff Daddy, where I was saying like all of the people that were trying to defend him, it's because they really want the life that they see that he has. They desire that life. And if he was to offer them a job to be his assistant, even with all the allegations, they would hop on that. Like if you were able, if he was to come into the hood, somebody like this pastor, people would gravitate to them because they're looking at something they don't see every day. You don't see somebody wearing $1,000 Balenciaga shoes, $1,000 bags and jackets and suits and all of that and all of this jewelry. He also, y'all remember, he also said that he was robbed for $1 million. I think it was live on while he was giving a sermon. He was robbed for his jewelry, $1 million worth. There's also a video where a sister is, I guess, I don't know what's going on, but it's a small snippet where a sister is arguing. She's loud. She walks past the podium and he grabs her by her neck and just pushes her out the camera view. You know what I'm saying? So but these are the type of men that Black people are willing to follow as men of God, as men of God. And I hate to use him because he's an exception to the rule. He's a little different because he's super flashy. But the average pastor with a nice sized church, he's doing really good for himself. And there's a Black person in there that's been in that church for 10 years. And they're in the same financial position that they was in when they first started coming to this church, when it was a small church, but now it's grown. And now this pastor is driving a nice foreign car, wears the best clothes. Meanwhile, the people that's coming there are still struggling. And so what's going on? Because they're talking about getting money, getting a blessing, sowing your seed and getting a return on it, like God is a slot machine. But where's the knowledge and the teaching to actually fix people? Why is the community destroyed? Why is it like somebody like Kendrick Lamar is got more love from the men in the community, from the people in the community at the bottom than a pastor can get? Why is it somebody like that looked at as more real and genuine than somebody that is supposed to be a man of God? It's because they are not really men of God. They are businessmen, and they are people that are trying to get rich off of the sorrows and the pain of other Black people. That's where the tithe money is going to. And a lot of Black people are so dumb that they can't see that, because all they see is the vainglory, the shiny suits, the three-piece Steve Harvey suits, the now later colored shoes, the flashiness of it, the pride, the haughtiness of it, the pride of it. And so they can't see what's really in front of them. Just a pimp, somebody that's good with their words and good with their mouthpiece. That's all pastors really are, is pimps. That's all they are. And I know I'm gonna upset some people, because I know it's a lot of Black people. Christianity is the #1 religion that Black people are in. So I know I'm gonna upset someone. But somebody has to hear the truth. Somebody has to say it. Somebody has to say it, and somebody has to hear it. Let me see. Y'all saying something. Right. Yeah. A Bulls fan 25. God wants the flock to keep the pastor good. Right. Grifters, religious grifters. That's it. They all about, listen, they'll send I remember, this was a minute ago. I remember I was in church. This was like over 10 years ago. And I remember one of the last times I was in a church. Man, they sent that basket around like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, am I tripping? They was not playing. Like the collection basket went around once. It came back again, twice. It came back again. And I remember in the middle of that thing, I got up. I was like, I'm up out of here, man. I was like, I can't believe, like, it's really a hustle. It's really a hustle. But here's the thing. There's a church on every corner. There's a church on every corner in the hood. But the hood is suffering. The hood is broken. The people are broken. It's destroyed. The people don't know right from wrong. The people don't have morality. What is the purpose of a church then? For people to walk up in there and feel good for a couple of hours and feel like they are close to God and sow a seed and hope that their life is going to change, that's prosperity thinking. I mean, let's get real. Let's get real. Black Cloud Miami TV, respect to you too. Much respect to you too. So now this video that I'm gonna play is crazy. This video is crazy. This is another one of those things where I'm saying it don't go on, you don't see it because they're not gonna put stuff like this on mainstream, but it is wild. Let me pull this video up. Now, this video is from a police cam. It is I edited the video so there's nothing graphic in it, just some I would say it's PG, but for some people they may think it's a little too graphic, but I don't think so. All right.
Drop the knife, bud. We can talk about this.
You? I've been to Iraq, bitch!
All right, can you drop it?
No!
Drop it. Man. Drop it. Drop it!
Please drop it.
Just drop the knife, man.
Well, when I say please.
I don't want to shoot you.
You don't want to
I don't want to shoot you.
Put it down, man. Oh, what? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot?
Now, I know y'all heard what I heard. Now, he ended up getting shot by the police and he ended up passing away. But what caught my ear was what he said. Now, when I researched the story, this was a guy that was a Iraq veteran. You hear it in the beginning. He says he's not scared of them. He's been to Iraq, right? And they saying that he suffered from PTSD and he was going through a mental episode on this police call and what happened with him. And he says he's walking on them. Let me play it one more time for y'all. Now, remember, think about this. Reverse the roles and put a black man in that role. He had a knife in his hand also.
Get down.
What if I don't want to?
Drop the knife, bud. We can talk about this.
You? I've been to Iraq, bitch!
All right, can you drop it?
No!
Drop it. Man. Drop it. Drop it.
Please drop it.
Just drop the knife, man.
Now, look at this. He's advancing on them. Now, they walked at least half a football field backwards before they open fire. That's not in this video. But just think about that in your head. A black man with a knife walking up on police and then they backing up. That will never happen. They're pleading with him. Come on, man, just put the knife down. They're doing what you would expect for somebody who is not afraid, just gun-ho, trigger happy off the top would do. You would think that they would try to dissolve the situation. You would think that they would try to, exactly, Bulls fan 25. He's committing, I'm gonna get to that. He's committing suicide by cop. He's suicidal. Obviously, he's not in his right mind, you know. But you would think that you would want a cop to try to, what? A lot of times we think of it like, why did they just pull out their gun and shoot first? Why didn't they, you know, pepper spray them, tase them, do some less lethal things first, and then if all else fails, then pull out the pistol, right? You would think that, but I was just thinking, like, think of it if it was a black man or even a Mexican man, like with a knife coming, not charging, but just walking towards, just the gesture, just standing there and making a movement like that. There's just that gesture would get you unalived. But he was able to walk them down, like literally walk them down. Let me get back to it.
I say, please.
I don't want to shoot you.
I don't want to.
I don't want to shoot you.
Put it down, man. Oh, what? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot?
Then he says, what? I'm not black enough to be shot? Like, you got to really think about the psychology of that thing, what he just said. That is so freaking heavy. It's so crazy that he would say that, because you got to understand, like, think about when black people protest, how much America hated the protests of black people, that they said, oh, Black Lives Matter? All lives matter. Like, they didn't even try to have any sympathy or empathy or empathize or none of that with the stance of black people and understand where black people was coming from. And they would say, well, if you brought up something like that, they would say, well, you know, he should have complied. He shouldn't have did that. He shouldn't have did this. Meanwhile, this white man who's, you know, basically out of his mind, committing suicide by a cop, and supposed to be suffering from mental issues because he was in Iraq, he understands it clearly. He understands it so much that in a sarcastic way, because he's not getting what he wants, which is suicide by cop, he says, what? I'm not black enough to be shot? Can you even, like that? I don't want to cuss, but it's crazy to think. And it just lets you know that they know. They understand it. They see it. But they would rather, before they ever admit to that, before they ever feel like they did anything wrong, they will make excuses about why an unarmed black man gets shot. They would rather fight back. They would rather fight back in some kind of way than say, you know what, this is happening. The camera don't lie. We see it with our own eyes. This is crazy. This is crazy. He said, I'm not black enough to be shot. What? What I'm not a black, since I'm not a black man, I guess I can't get shot, huh? I guess you ain't gonna shoot me then. What y'all think? I'll play it one more time for y'all.
What if I don't want to?
Drop the knife, bud. We can talk about
Hey, to
this.
you? I've been to Iraq, bitch!
All right, can you drop it?
No!
Drop it.
Drop it. Drop it.
Please drop it.
Just drop the knife, man.
Well, then when I say please...
I don't want to shoot you.
You don't want to
I don't want to shoot you.
Put it down, man.
Oh, what? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot? I'm not black enough to be shot?
Hey, what you said, Bulls fan 25. They had to, because he put them on Front Street. So they had to say, you know what? We got to do it. We'll hold out a while, but we got to do it so we don't look like we only shoot black men. There's a lot of videos where I've seen white people with knives. There's a video where the white man has a knife and the officer actually like talks him down, gets the knife from him, sits down next to him, you know, like, what's the problem, man? Like, you know, really on a human level, treats him like a human being and just could see that he's just because you got to understand, people see themselves in their own race. So people see people, but when they're dealing with a conflict and a person is the same race as them, they can more sympathize with that person. They can actually, it's like a human thing that comes out of them. There's plenty of videos where white people are like literally threatening the police with weapons and they don't let off at all. But me, if I move a little too fast, if I dig in my pocket and bow, 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 It looked like he had a gun. He had to make a split-second decision. It was either him, either he go home or you go home. That's what it is with us. And I don't mean to just, I'm not trying to just, harp all on that. But the point is this video is crazy. He called it out. He called out what a lot of them already know, but they won't admit it. They won't admit it. But he said it. He said it in a way that was, like the brother said, he said, put that thing on Front Street. Oh, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I seen that video too. Was it the video where he started, where the police dog attacked the police instead of the criminal? That was actually a funny video. The dog, I don't know if you talking about the same video, but it was a video where the police dog, they brought him out to get on the criminal, and he hopped on another police. He started biting the police officer that had him. Nah, that ain't the one. But that's funny though. But the dog started biting the police officer. The criminal, I think he got away, or he didn't get bit, at least. He didn't get attacked by the dog. And it made me wonder, like, what the hell is they doing to the dogs? Where they can't even function right. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go into my Black Authentic True story. This is a story that many people already know. And let me see. Yeah, that one, yeah. So that wasn't the one, but yeah, that video, I got to see that one that you're talking about, Bulls fan. Pull up this Black Authentic True story. 1 second. Y'all just bear with me, rock with me. Right. Let me get some water. Born in Paris, Kentucky on March 4th, 1877, Garrett Augustus Morgan was the seventh of 11 children. His mother, Elizabeth Reed, was of Indian and African descent and the daughter of a Baptist minister. His father, Sidney, a former enslaved man freed in 1863, was the son of John Hunt Morgan, a Confederate colonel. Morgan spent most of his teenage years working as a handyman for a Cincinnati landowner. Like many African-American children growing up at the turn of the century, he had to quit school at a young age to work full-time. Morgan hired a tutor and continued his studies while working in Cincinnati. In 1895, he moved to Cleveland, where he began repairing sewing machines for a clothing manufacturer. This experience sparked Morgan's interest in how things worked, and he built a reputation for fixing them. His first invention, made during this period, was a belt fastener for sewing machines. Morgan also invented a zigzag attachment for sewing machines. In 1907, Morgan opened a sewing machine shop. 1 year later, more conscious of his heritage, he helped start the Cleveland Association of Colored Men in 1908. 1 year later after that, he and his wife, Mary Ann, opened Morgan's Cut Rate Ladies Clothing Store. The shop made coats, suits, dresses, and other clothing, and ultimately had 32 employees. He received his first patent in 1912. In 1913, he incorporated hair care products into his growing list of patents and launched the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company, which sold hair care products, including his patented hair straightening cream, hair coloring, and a hair straightening comb invented by Morgan. He received a patent for his smoke hood design in 1914, also known as a breathing device. That same year, he launched the National Safety Device Company. The invention earned him the first prize at the Second International Exposition of Safety and Sanitation in New York City. Morgan worked hard to market the device, especially to fire departments, often personally demonstrating its reliability in fires. Morgan's breathing device became the prototype and precursor for the gas mask used during World War I, protecting soldiers from toxic gas used in warfare. The invention earned him the first prize at the Second International Exposition of Safety and Sanitation in New York City. A tragic accident in 1916 proved to be another opportunity for Morgan. That year, the city of Cleveland was drilling a new tunnel under Lake Erie for a freshwater supply. Workers hit a pocket of natural gas, which resulted in a huge explosion and trapped workers underground amid suffocating noxious fumes and dust. When Morgan heard about the explosion, he and his brother put on breathing devices and made their way into the tunnel as quickly as possible. The brothers managed to save 2 lives and recover 4 bodies before the rescue effort was shut down. Then, in 1923, he created a new kind of traffic signal after witnessing a horrible crash at an intersection. His manually operated design included moving arms featuring signals for go and stop. Morgan quickly acquired patents for his traffic signal, a rudimentary version of the modern 3-way traffic light in the United States, Britain, and Canada, but eventually he sold the rights to General Electric for $40,000. Later in his life, he developed glaucoma, and by 1943, he was functionally blind, but continued to work on his inventions. One of his last was his One of his last was a self-extinguishing cigarette, which used a small plastic pellet filled with water placed just before the filter. Just before his death, Morgan was honored by the United States government for his traffic signal invention. He died on July 27, 1963, at the age of 86, and was buried at the Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the story of a Black inventor, businessman, and community leader, Garrett Morgan. All right. That was the brother Garrett Morgan, who invented what you know today, or made improvements to what you know today as the stoplight. Also, he invented the precursor to the gas mask, and he invented straightening cream, right? Which is, that's why a lot of brothers was the 1920s. They was fried, dyed, and laid to the side, right? Let me see. Yeah. So with that, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. Make sure that y'all will be here next Sunday. I was about to say next Wednesday. Next Sunday, I'll have a good Black Authentic Truth story. I wanted to have something because I know y'all be like, damn, every story I come with be like a story of it's unfortunate, it's a tragedy. And I didn't want it to, I wanted to, have a positive story, which there are a lot of positive stories of Black triumphs and inventions and, just good things. But also, I feel like we do have to keep educating and speaking the truth of our history. And we can't get caught up in what everybody else says, which is forget about it. Like, don't think about the history, just move forward. Like, I don't believe in that. That doesn't even make sense because I other people who have went through things, other races who have went through things don't talk like that. To me, that's being defeated, where you just don't want to remember your history. I low key, when I read stories and I learn stuff about my ancestors, whether they're tragedies or they're great stories like this one, an invention story of a great inventor, I get empowered. I get stronger. I feel strong just knowing. I feel like I have a strong stance and footing in life and just knowing what could happen because I know what happened in the past. So I think it's very, very important to know what's going on with our people. So yeah, man, I'm about to get up out of here, man. Hey, shout out to everybody that was rocking with me. Shout out. Let me just shout out everybody else out. Let me see. Barata Nawa, Renee Gaines, Bulls fan 25, always rocking with me. Alawab Kobal rocking with me. Black Cloud Miami TV was rocking with me. Listen, man, shout out to y'all for rocking with me, man. I appreciate that. I'll see y'all again next Wednesday. In the meantime, I'll be posting some content, posting, different viewpoints and all of that throughout the week. Without further ado, you already know what it is. This is Black Authentic Truth.